Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking?
Let's go.
What are you thinking
I
about,
was
Bobby?
chewing, was chewing up the rest of my fucking cough drop.
Cough drop, eh? Oh, I should.
Yeah.
You got a little tickle?
Nah, well, a little bit, but
Yeah.
I've been doing that instead of. I've been taking one a day, like just to clear things out a little bit. It seems to have been helping. So don't necessarily need them, but I take them anyway.
Okay.
Ready?
I suppose so, Bobby.
Oh, what episode are we?
If we ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 132 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all the land, Mr. Sean Capri.
Sean
What's up, Sean?
Capri, Bobby. You know what I think we should just do from now on? You should just have Adam Leonard step in and co-host all of your shows for you.
No,
The world needs a little bit more. The world only gets like Adam Leonard once a month. We get, if you're a patron at patreon.com/megadads, you get John Wall every week. And that
Yeah, that's not the
sucker
one I
is
want
awesome.
either.
No, but you know what, man? That might be what you think.
I'd rather have
I
that.
know that might be what you think because Adam's all the,
Yeah.
you know, he's,
No,
he's all
I'm
the
just
sexy time pictures and whatnot, and the music and the
I
doodles.
love John too.
That guy's got it going on. 10, 15
Yeah.
minutes of John Wall in your ears, good times, man. But it was
You know
good.
you know what's crazy about John is I was talking to him at E3 and I was like, dude, how do you get the stuff you get?
Yeah.
Like he gets interviews, he gets stuff, and he's like, I just ask. I
Yeah.
got no pride. He's like, I just ask and I just keep on asking and every like if they say no, I'll ask again and I'll ask again. He goes, eventually they tell me yes. And I'm like, I just wish I had that fortitude to just keep doing it. I
You
don't
just
know.
gave away a secret, man. He's gonna be pissed.
No.
He's gonna be a little
I'm
upset
sure he
with
would tell
you.
I'm sure he would tell anybody that.
Bobby, it's Christmas time. Merry Christmas.
It is Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas. This
We
is
made
going
it.
out on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the day it's
It's
Christmas
Festivus.
Eve.
It's
It's the
Festivus
eve
today.
of Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
The I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say. I had something in my head. I
Scrooge
don't know.
McDuck over here.
I know, man.
Yeah,
I'm not.
bah humbug.
I got the tree back here, but I'm just like, whatever.
It looks good, man. It looks good.
Whatever.
You know what? It's a good
My
time
mom-
to be.
My mom and my cousin, my mom messages me and she's like, "Hey, me and your cousin are gonna come up and we're gonna have dinner." I was like, "Okay," and then all of a sudden it dawned on me, they're not coming up for dinner. Like they're coming up for dinner, but they're coming up because they're gonna make me put this tree up.
You
Sure
knew that
enough.
going in?
I just had a feeling.
You're an
And sure
insightful
enough,
son of a gun.
yeah, I just had a feeling. Because you know why? Because I took a picture of my new furniture.
Mm-hmm.
I got a new couch and recliner in the living room,
Yeah.
and then my mom's like, "Where's the tree?" And I was like, "There is no tree this year." And then she was like, "Oh," and I was like,
Aw.
and then when she hit me up, I was like,
Yeah.
that's why they're coming up." Because why would they come up?
You know what?
I
That's
mean, it's the
sweet
middle-
though, man. That's what family's all about. They're looking out for you. It's really nice. And Miguel is like family.
Yeah, Miguel was there too. We put the nativity set out.
Mm-hmm.
The nativity set has been in my family forever. Sean.
Oh, really? Like it's a
Forever.
legit, like
was-
it's serious, like
It was my grandmother's,
Oh,
my
wow.
mom's mom. It was my mom's mom's.
yeah.
My grandfather bought it for 1 year, and then they gave it when my grandmother passed away. My mom inherited it, and then probably, man, well, when after I got no, not it was before I got married, but it was the year before I got married. My mom gave it to me and said, "I want you to have this." So I've been putting
It's
it out.
pretty
every
nice,
year.
man.
You know, it's nice. It's old. It's really nice sculptures and all
Mhm.
that. It's really nice.
I was
And then on top of my tree, you can't see it now. Again, I'm not going to lift the camera. I'll show you afterwards. I have a 40-year-old star on the top of
Wow.
my tree. I made this thing when I was in kindergarten. It's a star at a construction paper of Santa Claus, and it's got cotton on the beard, and like it's all colored in by me, but it's horrible coloring because I was a little
I love
kid
it.
at the time. It's so cool, and so my mom and dad, they just kept it for years. Like when I brought it home from school that year, that was our tree topper. And then when I moved out, my mom gave it to me, and I've had it ever since. And my parents always fight every time they come over, they're like, "Can I have it? Can I have it?" I'm like, "No, you're not getting it back. No, it's mine, man. It's mine." So this year, I realized it's going to be 40 years old. I think this year.
That's
It's a long
crazy.
time to have something like that, you know.
Hmm.
So,
Nice.
but
Well, I was as sweet as that nativity set sounds. I was sort of hoping that you'd have like a Mario themed one. You know, like a little baby
that'd be,
Mario in a manger.
that would be kind of funny.
You know, you got like
That would be
Samus,
funny.
Samus and her buddies is like the three wise men from the future,
That would be funny. That would be funny.
and the farm,
Sean,
little stables full of colored Yoshis. No, Bobby, I'm sticking with this.
No, we're done. We're done.
Aw.
Let's kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our
Flux with
shout-outs.
flux with flux with flux, or geek outs. We do a geek out.
You know what I realized a few weeks ago? I said geek outs. And the week that it was you and Lacey's last episode,
Yeah.
I said geek outs and nobody picked up on it.
Yeah,
Myself included.
we just skip past this part mostly. Mentally, we were like, all right, it's the thing we're just getting by.
It's
I
the
love
thing
it.
where we do the thing.
Yeah.
You have any do you have any shout outs?
I have it. Well, mine's sort of like a group. I did an all day stream today at a celebration of leaving my job for almost 10 years, and I couldn't figure out a way to really like Chelsea and I did dinner and we're like hooray and hurrah and all this stuff, and I'm like, you know what, I would really love to celebrate this momentous occasion, this new job, new opportunity, really kind of like securing the future for the family and everything like that. Very big deal. So how do I celebrate? I'm gonna kick the family out of the house and I'm gonna play video games all day. And it was absolutely incredible. I chatted with Mr. Badbit himself, Joseph Moran. And then later in the afternoon, Jace plays games. Jumped on Destiny 2, playing on PC. We were chatting with that a little while. So I want to give a couple shout outs to those guys. And also to Ted. Ted just comes in and just like throws donations around in bits, which is crazy. So thank you for that. And Corey Hicks, my fellow Edmontonian, Canada.
Yes.
Corey Hicks comes in with
Good dude.
a massive Christmas present. So I want to thank everybody for coming and supporting. It was this very special day, playing video games with my friends, coming back to Twitch after a long absence. It was a good time, man. I had a lot of fun today.
Good stuff.
It was a good day.
Good stuff. My shout out is going to be numerous people, but it's within a reasoning behind it. So at the beginning of the month, I got this idea in my head that I wanted to reboot, rebrand Breaking Bells. In all that thought pattern, never had the conversation with Chelsea though. So I did have the conversation with her a couple of days ago because she was like, "Oh, so this is how I find out," and I was like, "Oh, like, well, I'm not hiding it. Like, I wasn't hiding it. It wasn't just so, devious." But I did talk to her and was just like, "Hey, man, we were having problems getting scheduling and all that stuff. Like, that was the main crux behind it all. But also, it was very difficult to find a topic every single week based on a game.
I think you guys both came to the same conclusion without talking to each other, so it didn't really feel like you either owed each other that conversation.
We did talk about it like about a month and a half ago, where we were just like, hey, we're just going to let's just go our separate ways at this point because it's not going. But in my mind, just didn't want to get rid of that show. I wanted that show to just take off because, it's just one of those things that, like, I know I'm on to something and I can't figure it out yet. And it was just something eating me up. And so I came up with this new format, and it's very guest-driven. And so I've already recorded 5 episodes.
Have you really?
Yes, man. 5 episodes are done.
Snap.
First one is with Bergability, which is a Twitch streamer, friend of mine. Next one was with Fiona McKinnon.
Oh my god, amazing.
The next one's with N64 Josh.
Oh.
Then I did one with Tony Baker.
Snap.
Then I did one with this girl named Mayor Kathy. And then tomorrow I'll be recording the 6th episode with Lizabelle, who's also a Twitch streamer. And then today I talked to Holly Lake, who I haven't talked to Holly in months.
God, dude,
she's coming next Sunday. She's going to record with me.
That is awesome. Holy crap!
Yeah.
How did you guys even connect?
Because I posted something today on Facebook.
Yeah.
And she reached out to me. She's like, "Oh my god, I am so sorry that
Oh, Bobby, that's awesome. Good for you, man. That makes me happy. Nice.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, I have this idea for this show. I've been meaning to reach out to you because I'm grabbing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that kind of loves Animal Crossing, I'm grabbing them and bringing them on the show because here's my goal for this show. And I was talking about it a little bit tonight because tonight's Twitch stream was just basically me editing an episode,
I've
going
always
in.
wanted to do that.
It was fun, dude. I
Yeah,
just
it was
sat
good.
there. I just sat there. The one computer I had going, I was doing my overlays because it was building the overlays for it.
Yep.
So I built like 3 or 4 overlays, dropped them for the chat to see, and I'm like, which one do you guys like the best? And then they picked the one they like the best. And as they're picking, I'm like, I got the idea for the perfect one. Hold on. So I go over and I'm just chatting, and I'm editing it and doing what I want to do to it. And I keep looking at the chat and talking to the chat, and then it gets done, and I post it up so they can see it. And they were like, oh my god, that's the one.
Love it.
I mean? And so then I was like, okay, now we're going to edit an episode. I'm going to show you exactly how I edit an episode. So I drop it in so they can see. They can see the screen, and I just go through all the procedures of what I do, and it's just
that's awesome, dude. I love it
all the way through. And then so the thing is if you're listening now, jump over because
of course they're listening now.
we're going to drop the episode tomorrow.
Okay.
The first episode back will be actually on Christmas Eve. I want to shadow drop it, just drop it and be done. And you know, but the thing of it is here's what my hopes are for this game. The concept of the show is basically I bring a guest on, right? And I go, what is your first Animal Crossing game you ever played? What's your favorite Animal Crossing game you played? Because the thing of it is if you play Animal Crossing, somebody that doesn't like Animal Crossing, like Todd Oxtra, I know he says it all the time to me, Jacob Rush, all the time. Like, I don't get it. What's the point of Animal Crossing? And I'm hoping that if someone will listen to these episodes, they'll understand what it means to each person. Because what I've learned so far, Sean, is every single person that loves this game, their first reactions were, I don't want to play that game.
Yep.
I don't have any desire to play that game. And then they're hooked. They play it because somebody gets you to go in for one reason, and then the next thing you know, you're hooked. And it's crazy. Like I was talking, quick story, N64 Josh, most fantastic story I ever heard. He lived in Washington State. Him and his wife moved to California. They leave their family all behind. They had been playing Animal Crossing on the GameCube at first, and that's how they had this bond with his uncle and his aunt and all this stuff, and they did all this stuff, and then they move, and his wife was homesick. And Animal Crossing comes out on the DS. And what do? His wife and his aunt play Animal Crossing every day together. There was Wi-Fi at the time for the DS, but they called each other on the phone, and they would talk on the phone and play Animal Crossing every day. And it helped his wife overcome homesickness because it was a way for her to just experience. And it's stories like that that are what makes me so excited for this show. And it's just amazing to talk to the people I'm talking. Tony Baker, like, oh my God, dude. Such a great episode. Like, every episode is better than the one.
Dang it.
And I get so excited. It's gonna be so awesome.
It's gonna be huge.
I cannot wait for this. So my hopes is that it'll get more people to recognize why we love Animal Crossing, and it'll help.
And you're dropping it now. You don't want to wait until maybe the
I was going to do the first week of January, right? So the first week of January was going to be when the first episode hit. But I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna. People are actually tweeting at me that they can't wait to see it and hear it. And I'm like, you know what? We're gonna drop it. January, Christmas Eve, I'm going to hit it. I was going to do it Christmas Day.
Imagine if Nintendo does the same thing. You know what? Animal Crossing is out.
Oh.
Can you imagine? There's no way.
I would love it.
There's absolutely no way.
I would love it. It'll never happen. So that's my shout out. My shout out is to all the people so far that have come on and been a part of Breaking Bells. Because it means so much to me to have these people a part of this and doing this. So it's really, really awesome.
Sweet, man.
So this episode, we kind of wanted to talk about the past year and kind of what we feel like Nintendo should do, or what we would do if we ran Nintendo in 2019. So Nintendo, I don't know that they'll hit their mark. Now, if you listen to analysts, if you listen to analysts, They should come about 3 million shy
Yeah.
of where it is.
But that was before I remember hearing that number, but that was before Smash. I feel like
That was before
Smash is
Christmas.
I feel like Smash is kind of over exceeded. Over exceeded, I guess you just say exceeded expectations.
It did 3 million
3
copies.
million in 11 days.
That wasn't even the United States, man.
That's what I'm
That was just
saying.
Japan and Europe. So it's gotta be. I would say it's gotta be 4, maybe 5 million.
Yeah, man, I feel like they might have made up that difference. I feel like Smash is
That's
bigger than they
nuts.
thought it was going to be.
Most
Or
definitely.
not they as in Nintendo, they as in these analysts who thought that they were going to come up
These
3 million
analysts,
short.
yeah.
I think that might have closed
But
the
the
gap a little bit.
But here's the thing, and we have to recognize this. It's not like Nintendo's not. Their attach rate is ungodly right now. What'd they say? More than half of every Switch owners have bought Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey, and
Zelda.
Breath
And
of the
Zelda.
Wild.
Not or, and. They have
And
all three.
all three. And the heat that people gave, like, well, that's all they have on that system anyway.
Yeah, I don't
No,
think that's
it's
the angle
not.
you take on that one. That's
the angle people were taking,
know, of
and it was
course
like,
they
you guys are idiots. Like, seriously, even in year one was probably, to me, one of the greatest launches
probably
of any console.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Nintendo put out the perfect plan for, if you want to launch a console, this is how you do it,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how you get the momentum going.
They must have had like
month,
Justin Masson drop a plan for them. They must have had him come around with his clipboard and his blueprints and everything.
Probably.
Yeah, that's probably how it
like,
worked
hey,
out.
Masson. That's why Masson moved to Ireland.
I know, you have to get a little closer to
Nintendo Europe.
I don't think that's close.
Working for Nintendo Europe, and they were like, "We're going to do the secret plan."
They have more pull than Nintendo Canada. Nintendo Ireland has more pull. Maybe
Nintendo
actually.
Europe. Nintendo Europe, not yet. There is no Nintendo Ireland. To my knowledge, there's not. There's a Nintendo UK. I know
of
that.
Leprechaun dressed up as Mario.
Could you imagine? Oh boy, oh boy. But I feel like people basically are throwing a lot of shade at Nintendo because their year 2 for Nintendo itself as a company hasn't been as strong in terms of new games.
Can I stop you? Can I just I want to interrupt you, but what I'm really doing is telling everybody on the internet who's upset about this to just shut the F up for a second. You guys just shut the F up. Just stop and shut the F up. Okay? Yeah. Here's the thing. Remember, Bobby, you and I have been doing this show for many, many years now. We've been going on for damn near 1,000 days. We've been doing this show. And back in the day, we would say, well, if Nintendo's ever going to be successful, they got to rely less on the first-party stuff, and they need more third-party stuff. They need third-party, third-party. And I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, I've been listening to a lot of things, and reading a lot of stuff, and people going like, man, there was like way too much third-party, definitely not enough first-party. So it's like, are you guys listening to yourselves right now?
Yeah.
Do you guys not remember what life has been like as a Nintendo fan for the last decade and a half? This is exactly what we've been screaming for, which means to me this is a perfect year. 2018 was absolutely incredible, and I just read a thing that Nintendo came out and said that they expect the Switch to have like a 7 to 10 year lifespan, which I think that might be a little long, but if we start to see this cadence of like the first year of Mario and Zelda just juggernauts, then we've got the second year, we've got to look like sort of a Pokemon Light, and we got a Smash, and we got a whole bunch of third party. And then we've got all these heavy hitters coming in Animal Crossing. I mean, 2022 is probably going to be Metroid. Joey Ferris.
That's what I think.
I mean, probably.
I actually think
they're in no rush. Is actually my point. I joke about it, but they're really in no rush. Like all they really need is like 1 or 2, maybe 3, kind of big first-party heavy hitters, and they can keep this train going.
Absolutely.
So I don't know, man. I'm not complaining.
My thing is this, right? When I look back at 2018, they kind of hit that same cadence where it was like almost a game every month, a new game every month. But the problem was, for Wii U owners, it was games we already played. Sure. And that, I think, is where there was a little bit of an issue. But as far as sales, they sold better than they did on the Wii U by huge numbers.
Of course.
Like, but not even, I mean, to say of course is one thing, but like the amount of numbers, like over 1 million for Donkey Kong Like, that's crazy to
So
think that, number one, it didn't do a million on the Wii U, and
right.
two, that it outpaced it so quickly. That's crazy.
There's
Even
this X factor,
Smash.
Bobby. There's this thing. Okay, so what are we at for Switch units right now? Probably we just got over the Wii U. We got over the
It's
got
over
over the
20
Vita.
million, yeah.
Yeah, so we're a little like I mean it's pretty substantially over the Wii U. I guess my point is that the Wii U, even if you were to compare like numbers to numbers, even if you got at a certain point in the Switch's lifespan where it had the same amount that the Wii U ended up with, games were still selling better on the Switch, not because of units or install base or anything like that. It's because of the tenor of the conversation that happens around the Wii U versus the Switch. People were bashing the Wii U every chance they could get. They laughed at it, they looked at it, and thought this thing is a joke. The Switch is the exact opposite. There's positivity surrounding it. There's people can't wait to play the game that they got through now so that they get to the one that's coming out next week. Like, it's this momentum and the talking that happens about it that is the key difference. And I don't know if anybody's really kind of talking about that. It's the cool thing to have. It's cool to be buying games on Switch. Wii U was like this weird niche thing that only we liked because we were hardcore. So the numbers themselves don't really tell the whole story. It's just cool to like the Switch now. It's cool to play your games and be seen playing your games on Switch.
Like, here's the thing. Like, prime example is Firewatch. That game did well. You know what I mean? Like, that game did well elsewhere. But it feels like people are hyped for it to be on the Switch. And it's like, it almost feels like it's a hype that wasn't there for PS4 and for Xbox. And it's like, holy crap, like, this is pretty substantial that when stuff comes to the Switch, people are ecstatic to play it. Like, you look at a game like Fortnite, right? So a game like Fortnite, which had been out for a year, and a lot of people were like, they were playing it and they were enjoying it, but it was almost like the minute it hit Switch, it was like right around that same time, it hit Switch, and all of a sudden it explodes. It's like it never existed before. Now, I know it did, and I know it was doing really well at that point, but it was almost like everybody turned and looked at it and was like, I'm going to go play it now. And it was very strange to me that it was like, I'm guilty of that. Like, I played it on Xbox, and I was like, yeah, I'm just not feeling it. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, it hit Switch, and everybody was playing it. Like, you couldn't get away from it. Like, everybody I knew was playing it. It was like, okay. And I realized at that point, like, it's a community-driven game.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, we're playing, like, I was talking to
it's because it shouldn't work. That's the thing that it continues to surprise people, is that these games shouldn't really work on the Switch at all.
But the crazy thing is this. So I was talking to somebody this past week about a Kevin Smith Twitter video, like a Periscope video or something he did. He was just driving down. He does these Facebook Live things. Might have been Facebook. So he does a podcast called Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, and it's where him and Jason Mewes go around to a bunch of places and they do a podcast where Jason talks about his life, and it's a way to keep Jason on the straight and narrow. It's like his detox, like his AA meeting, where rather than going into an AA meeting, he travels around and basically talks about his history with drugs and overcoming it, and it's his way to keep himself busy so he doesn't go back to drugs. So they're driving down the street, and Kevin Smith goes, he's just making a joke, and he's just like, so this is how you know when the marriage is in trouble. And he turns the camera to the back seat, and here's Jason Mewes with a Nintendo Switch in his hand, headset on. It's tethered to his phone.
Yeah.
He's on Discord, or he's not on Discord, I'm sorry, he's plugged in. He's playing Fortnite, and they're driving down the street going to the show.
That's crazy.
And it's like, all of a sudden it hits, and it's like, everybody can do this. Like, you can. And when I thought about, like, Jules and I, when we were at E3, and I was playing it, it was docked, and I had the phone running the internet, and it was just amazing. So that's the thing. I got off on a tangent there, a big tangent. But my whole thing is that it feels weird that, like, when things come to Nintendo, everybody stands up and takes notice. And the other thing that happens is when something gets announced, the first words are, "Is it coming to Switch? Is it coming to Switch?" And, like, it's crazy,
You have
like,
to
we're
think
getting Mortal
remember
Kombat
when it was,
11.
I know that's insane. That's insane. Remember when the Switch was launched, and everybody would have talked about, like, do we like the name Switch? It's a weird name. We went back to an English kind of focus-centric name. It's not Wii. It's not this strange. It's not Amiibo or anything like that. It was Switch.
Yeah.
And Switch is such a snappy name. Like, of course, like everybody knows the sound and everything, but I feel like that is part. It becomes part of the conversation that people are having.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds good to say, like, is it coming to Switch? Nobody's saying like, is this coming to Xbox? Is this coming to PlayStation?
No.
Like, I don't know. It's just Switch is just so. I don't know. It's like the Nintendo word is just like, it's just video games. It's just Switch. I think that has a lot to do with it as well. They just killed it with every piece of the branding of this thing. So this is not really talking about like what next year is really going to have in store. I feel like this year there's too many games for anybody to keep up with anyways. And people, like I said, shut the F up about the whole, not enough Nintendo stuff on there. Plenty of Nintendo stuff to keep everybody busy. More importantly, Nintendo landed all the deals and more that they ever needed for the third-party business. You got Doom, you got Wolfenstein, Octopath Traveler.
The crazy thing for me is like, I remember during the Wii U era, right? Trying to get my friends to buy this thing, trying to convince people to buy it, and it was like pulling teeth.
Yeah, man.
Nobody wanted it. Even like, dude, I have so many family members this year reaching out to me, going, "What's this Switch? What do I need to know about this Switch? Your cousin wants one, whatever, you know." And they're asking me questions like, "What do I need to get? What, you know, what's the games I should get? All this stuff." And it's like crazy to me that like within 2 years. It's not even 2 years. We're not even at the 2-year mark. And it's like done. It's like in, out, done. Like everybody's on board with this thing. So I look at this company and I go, what's the important things for 2019? And I feel like there's a couple things that they should work on in order to make 2019 a little bit of a better year for them than 2018. Financially, 2018 is a phenomenal year for them. Their sales are way up. The Switch did 60% better than every other console during Christmas. 60% of, I think 65 or 70% of sales for Nintendo were off of games and stuff. Like they're just making money hand over fist this year. It's breaking records. It's the fastest, it's the highest selling Nintendo console ever during a Christmas year. It's just nuts to see what they're doing across the board. So that said,
without the first year support that everybody's clamoring for, by the way.
Yeah.
This is the bad year.
Yeah.
That's my point.
So I look at 2019 and I go, whether you look at it from the perspective of they're falling apart, they're not really doing what they need to do, or you're looking like 2018 is a fantastic year. I feel like part of the problem is 2017 was so spectacular where they just did everything right.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really like Mario Odyssey when it came out. Everybody says that the 2017 was so strong because Mario and Zelda. And like, I guess those two words together, like those two franchises together, equal greatness. And of course, we know that those sold really, really well. But for me, like, I didn't have a great time playing Mario on my Switch last year. I didn't really get into Mario until this year. So I mean, again, I'm coming from the side of the people who think I think 2018 was perfectly fine.
For me, it wasn't like Odyssey was a fun game, but it wasn't like game of the year for me. Like I didn't view
exactly. It's not to take anything away from it.
I don't feel like it should have been even nominated for game of the year, but I understand why it did. It hit home for a lot of people. But like, dude, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Rabbids, Fire Emblem Warriors, like they had a lot of fantastic games as a first party company. Xenoblade Chronicles, like, dude.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that one. I'm glad you said that.
Like there was so many fantastic games for Nintendo. In 2018, again, I think a part of the problem was the first party games were there. It was just a lot of ports.
Sure.
A lot of stuff that we had already played on the Wii U. I feel like in 2019, to keep the momentum going strong, they need to back off the ports just a little bit. Just a little bit. You know, you could do, we already know one's coming, right? One's coming January 11th on my birthday, and that's, you know, Super Mario U Deluxe.
Yeah. That's on the bottom of the freaking totem pole for me, man. I don't know about you.
I'm
like, of all
I kind of want it.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's not. Listen, I would rather have 3D World. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a good point. Like, that's kind of why I'm feeling like, and when you know, in a world where there's so many ports, like that's the one that you pick. I would definitely rather have the 3D World and Land kind of make their way over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, I look at it and I go, where are we at? Where, what are we doing? Where's things go with this? I feel like you just back off the ports just a little bit. Just a little bit. Um, but in the same time, I feel like you need to, if you do ports, you need to hammer down and make them home runs. Make them games that people are like, "Oh my god." Um, but for me, some things that I would like to see them fix aren't necessarily their software things. I want to see them what I want to see them work on is the OS, the operating system. I would like a better voice chat system. Like, we know that Epic Games figured out a way to do voice chat. Why can't we just figure out a way to just and it isn't even figure out a way. Why can't we just let it happen and let people voice chat throughout? Now I know I can't have that conversation. I was gonna say something, and it's a private conversation I can't let out.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, we can talk about it later if you
Sure.
want to. But
I'll
the
forget.
thing of it is, why can't you just let this happen? You know what I mean? Why can't you just go like, okay, we're gonna ditch the phone app, keep the phone app in Japan. If Japan enjoys everything on the phone, which that was told to me by Jack over at Ojo. We had a conversation on Nintendo Talk Live, and he basically said to me, he's like, "That's in Japan, in Asia, everything's on the phone. You need it to be on the phone. So for Nintendo to put the phone app or all the voice chat on the phone, it just makes sense for them over there in Japan. So when you're looking at why can't you just eliminate the phone over here and move to the voice chat the way Epic has it, and just leave it there and be done with it? But whatever. I feel like the OS, I feel like we need to add some things to make it a little flair. Adam Leonard brought it up the other day, and it made a lot of sense to me on Nintendo PlayStation podcast, where he was like, "Man, all the other consoles, you turn it on, it makes a sound, it makes a chime, and it gets you all excited because you had this little jingle that
That's
plays."
a good point.
It's dead. You turn that thing on, there's nothing.
That's a good point.
And it's like, why isn't there no startup sound?
Totally.
No
Oh my
boot up.
gosh.
Even when you start it up from fresh, there's no startup sound.
Oh my gosh.
So that would be one. I would basically implement wallpapers.
Yeah, anything that can add a little personality, like your own like customization, tailor it to your own experience. But it's got to be like all these things that we talk about is what makes it snappy. You take all those things out and it turns on instantly. Quick. It doesn't have to worry about like firing up an audio sound. Doesn't have to worry about loading up a picture or anything like that. Like those steps that slow everything down. We're talking
as
milliseconds,
long as it's
but it all
not
adds
like
up.
overwhelming, where it takes Wii U status to get to something. And that might be what they looked at. It was like, you know what, that took forever. We're not going to add this stuff. And if that's the case, okay, fine.
But you expect these things to happen in 2019, or you just want them to happen?
I think I think they need to happen in 2019. I think it's year 3. It's time to start fixing things and getting things moving forward in terms of like, this is the way the thing looks. We're beyond the half-baked stuff now. It's time to move on. Let's go. The other thing is the eShop. They need to overhaul that eShop. I've been screaming that for years now, right? Since the Switch launched, I think 3 or 4 months after the Switch launch, I was like, okay, it's fixes. They have to fix the eShop.
You know what's going to do it? You know what's going to bring in the change to the eShop? It's been long enough for any of us. We've all forgotten this thing, Bobby. I can't believe you haven't brought it up. 2019 is the year of Virtual Console. I'm calling it right now. It's coming back, and it's gonna come back in a big way. I'm telling you, man. They've delayed it because I don't know if they thought that it would cannibalize the whole Switch Online thing with the NES stuff. I don't know, man. I don't think that thing is ever gonna replace what a Virtual Console could be, and I could totally see they launch that thing. And I think I just cannot believe, like, I'm having so many conversations these days of people going like, I had to fire up my Wii U because I wanted to play some Virtual Console games. Or I'm like, I'm loading up my Wii because I want to play some Virtual Console games. How is Nintendo? Now, if we ran it, like, I mean, this is a dead horse. You don't want to feed a dead horse. I think the PETA people want us to say now. But honestly, I feel like we've forgotten about it long enough. We've been screaming about it. They're like, it is not happening. Here's the alternative. I think they're going to totally troll us on that one.
Well, you know something. Here's the thing, and let's again, let's go back to 2 years ago. I remember you full on conversations.
Yeah.
If I have to buy these games again, I don't want to. I'm not going to buy them. I'm not going to. There has to be a way for them to give me all my games I had.
Yeah.
And now they got you to the point where you're like, I want them back. I want them back. I want them. I want them. And you'll wind up buying them again. They've basically got you to the point where they've given you NES games, and they're not charging us for the NES games.
Well, I think everybody's going to come at it a little bit differently. For me personally, I'm not going to buy some of those Mario games again. But there's games that I have missed out on that, like, because I'm not playing on the Wii U anymore, that I won't be, like, I'm not going to fire that thing up to get old Virtual Console games. There's got to be a nice way. Again, this is like, there is a way for first party to play a role on the Switch, and it's in the Virtual Console stuff. You have these specials that come out around like Pokemon, and then you have all these other Pokemon games that maybe come out on your Switch.
I mean, you think about it. How nice would it have been for them to turn around and go like, "Hey guys, remember Red, Blue, and
Seriously.
Yellow? When Let's Go comes out, like here you can play the remastered version with this, and you can go buy from the Virtual Console the old Game Boy games."
I can see
there has to be a way.
The time that it's taken for them to go like it's a full blown. It's not just like we're not gonna do virtual console for like NES, and then like in a year and a half it's gonna like add some SNES games, and then maybe we might do a sprinkle of N64 games. It comes in and it's like it's what you remember the Wii Virtual Console. Like you got all you got like Sega and whatever else they had on there.
Yeah, they're all there.
Turbo Graphics,
SNK, SNK and all that. So it's. I feel like they're moving in the right direction.
As you say, like we don't want ports. I'm like, I'm coming in with Virtual Console.
Well, I feel like that's a little different.
Sure.
I feel like that's a big difference.
Well, the way you balance that out is, I feel like the Switch so far, especially with Breath of the Wild, the Switch can like leave a legacy in the future of redefining the experiences of the franchise you've been knowing for so long. I expect great things actually from Metroid. We saw obviously great things with Zelda, but this is the first time that we have a very unique situation with Pokemon. This it can revitalize and refresh, redesign everything that you know about Pokemon in this cool new way. Animal Crossing, we can have a totally new way of playing that, and things that you didn't even know that you wanted. So you can balance the old with the new as long as you know they're very safe about. I think the new things that they bring into the games. But I kind of feel like it's the same going from Super Nintendo to 64 when they perfected 3D at their first try at it. I feel like there's an opportunity for that coming from the Wii U, and just like we need something new. And Zelda's that great example of that, man. We're not seeing it unfortunately with like Kirby, I don't think, and we're probably not going to see it with Yoshi. But there's certain opportunities. I think Pokemon is the one in 2019. I think as long as we get maybe like one every year where it's like this and you've known this franchise for decades now, but it's a totally different way to play it. I think that would be huge.
Well, I feel like Pokemon will. I want to say like they've talked about we're going to get a mainline Pokemon game this year,
right?
In 2019.
That's kind of what I'm going off of. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure there'll be some changes to it.
Right.
That fans won't, because. Listen, Pokemon Let's Go, it got heat, it got love, it got all over the like people. We've been down this road where people that didn't even buy the thing were rating it and giving it bad ratings because they're idiots. But I think that like when you look at this overall, I think they're heading in a right direction. I think I'm with you on the Virtual Console thing. There's rumors that they might not do an N64 Classic now. And I don't know whether that's true or not or whatever it might be. I kind of would just walk away from the classics at this point.
No, man, Game Boy Classic is the answer. Game Boy Classic
Well,
would
the
be
Game Boy
huge.
Classic might be one, but I think like when you hit the N64 Classic, look at the PlayStation. If you don't hit that thing with the proper games, and even with the proper games, it's not what people want. They don't want to play those games because they don't look good. And it's sad. It's just, like your nostalgia for those games are strong and their games aren't that good. And it's a problem.
I love it. I feel like on that topic, I feel like Nintendo comes out of this looking so smart. They killed it with the NES Classic. They killed it with the Super Nintendo Classic. And then PlayStation's like, me too. And people are like, really? Like, not even just the games, man. Like, the emulation is strange and it's so easily. I mean, maybe it's not necessarily a super negative that you can hack it so easily. But plugging a keyboard and mouse, you hit escape and you're into the back end of the whole thing. Like it's just if I
That's
created
just
it,
Sony.
like if I just made
Yeah.
it, like you want something a little more polished than that. And I just feel like Nintendo comes around like, yeah, that's how it was back in the day too. Like we were polished and we knew what we were doing. Everybody else was trying to be the Me Too there too. It was different then though, the Me Too.
Yeah, it's pretty.
But okay,
Um,
so if we're saying, I don't know what Nintendo's saying in terms of like, because they haven't even finished this fiscal year yet. But let's imagine they come up with like another crazy, like 15, another 20, 15, 20 million units sold.
well, okay, so let's just say hypothetically
Yeah,
that they don't hit their mark and
sure.
they are 3 million shy.
Yeah,
I mean, first
it's
off,
not too
3 million
bad.
shy. That's pretty damn good. That before the year even begins, you're like, "Hey, I'm going to sell 20 million next year."
Yeah, you get
Because how many
17.
companies would like to sell 1 million units or something? They're
Mm-hmm.
selling, they're selling 17 million. That's pretty unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So if they do fall a little short, right, and they do 17, I think the answer is I think they could replicate that easily in 2019 if they just turn around and go, "We're going to do another 17 million. We're good to go." I think that's the number. I think whatever they sell this year, they have to say the next year the number is a tick higher.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to say the same, but you don't want to go lower, and I don't think you want to go super higher. So I would probably say like if they did 17, we're going to do 18 million next year,
Mm-hmm.
a number that's definitely easy to achieve because I feel this is me personally. I feel like 2019 is set up to be a stronger year than 2018 and potentially could go toe to toe with what they did in 2017. Now, when I say a stronger year, again, I'm meaning first party games out the box,
Mm-hmm.
brand new first party games. You're talking about a brand new Fire Emblem this year. You're talking about a brand new Animal Crossing, a new Bayonetta, a new Yoshi game. You know, there's talks about a new Pokemon game at the end of the year. Do we get a Metroid Prime? I don't know. Um, but like when you look at it, there's probably 5 games that are new
Yeah.
that are coming out that are games like Animal Crossing system seller,
Mm-hmm.
system seller all year, all day long. So that's a console that will push and get, and especially if they do what I know they're going to do, if they do a special edition, they throw that
That's what
special
I'm
edition out
wondering is
there.
when do they? Okay, so think about this. We're talking all mostly within the Nintendo world right now, right? But you have to think
Mhm.
about Xbox, PlayStation. They're gearing up for the next generation as well. Nintendo, of course, being
Yeah,
they're straddling a little bit here, and if they're really saying
yeah,
that the Switch is gonna pan out this long, 7 to 10 years, they have to have something to carry them
yeah.
through. So it's all about timing, man. Like I think, yeah, 19, maybe like late 19, maybe early 20 is that'll be the third year, going into the third year of the Switch. Something now. Do you want to talk about this rumor about like the upgraded battery? There's a couple like leaked pictures. I don't know if you saw those. Like
I didn't see that.
they look fake. They don't really look like leaked
Yeah,
pictures at all. It's just like if I put a phone with some buttons on it, kind of look like that.
I've come to the conclusion that unless Nintendo says it, I don't want to believe
Yeah,
it
fair enough.
because you know what, man. You know what? Here's the thing. What was it last year?
Yeah.
Right. So last year I was doing a Nintendo talk with Mark Carabin,
Mm-hmm.
and remember that leaked OS popped out,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh
me and
yeah.
him
You
were
guys went
on the
through it.
air, and we went through it and watched it and broke
Mm-hmm.
it down, and it was like if someone's faking that, they can fake anything,
Yeah.
man.
Good point.
Because when I watched that, dude, I was like, dude, this is
It
legit.
did look
Like
legit.
how? It looks so legit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done trusting the internet. I don't care. Like that Grinch thing that happened not that long
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah, man.
people really thought that was real, you know? And I just don't want anything to do with these leaks anymore. So over these leakers, and they're not included in the scorecard. They could be wrong a million times, and everybody still believes them. And then one person gets something wrong, and they're pounding them, like IGN or Kotaku gets something wrong, and they're acting like they're
Mm-hmm.
criminals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but yet here's Liam Robertson who's wrong all the time and gets a few things right, and everybody swears that he's the smartest thing ever. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when you have people like that, it's like I don't trust them anymore. I don't
Yeah.
trust them to go like what they're telling me is true. So if there's an extended battery, if there's a different, I don't trust it. When I see it, I'll believe it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just sadly I don't believe it anymore. And occasionally you get stuff that's legit. Like even this Metroid Prime trilogy game that got leaked because
Oh
apparently
yeah.
it was the retailer. When you translated what was in the actual thing, the retailer put up a page and was like, "Well, we're hoping this happens. We think it's going to happen." What?
Leaked, confirmed.
Yeah, but everybody else was like, "Oh, it's confirmed. It's leaked. It's happening." And it's like, but when somebody actually read it and translated, it was like, "No, no, 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 no." So I guess we'll see, how things move going forward. But I think that they're definitely poised to have a stronger first party new games in 2019 than in 2018. And if they do that, they're going to get the double hit. They're
Yeah.
going to get the
I'm
old
honestly
school
struggling to think of the things that I feel like I'm missing on my Switch, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know what Nintendo, like, because Pokemon, like, I agree, I think Pokemon is a system seller, but I think between Pokemon and Animal Crossing, from a business perspective, and for me to think about, like, everybody going absolutely crazy, I honestly think that's enough. But for me personally, like, Animal Crossing would be great. Pokemon, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's not the same as a Mario and Zelda year. I don't know if you ever come up with that ever again. I don't know if you necessarily need to. I'm saying, like, I'm just saying for me personally. Like,
No,
I think
know.
for everybody else out there, I think a Pokemon and an Animal Crossing would probably be bigger than Mario and Zelda, to be honest with you. But that's how it's different. Those games play different roles in their timeline. Mario and Zelda is what you need to launch a console that is like similar with what PlayStation did with their launch. You copy and paste that playbook every single time now. It's too bad consoles aren't being around for much longer, because this is how you launch them. We'd finally figured out what you need to do to launch these consoles. But I don't know. Like, let me ask you this: Do you think we get another Mario Kart on the system?
Oh, there's gonna be another Mario Kart. I don't feel like it's anytime soon, but I think you definitely get another Mario Kart in this.
I could see 2020 for next Mario Kart.
Because at the end of the day, like, the Mario Kart we got was really, it's not a new game, and you're really gonna do that to your fans and be like, okay, we're just gonna give you the ported version that you already bought.
And no DLC.
Like
the fact that they haven't done any DLC for it kind of tells me that they were working on the next thing.
They're working on something else, Because, dude, that's a development team. That's its own development team. That's not like that's a team that does that and then goes and works on something else. They work strictly on Mario Kart games. So there's no way in the world that they're not off doing another Mario Kart game. Because if they were dropping DLC, then I would go, maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe not. They're not. I think they're building the next Mario Kart game. It's going to be massive. It's going to be game changing for them. It's going to be one of these things where it's just like, here's everything. Like I was what was it, N64 Josh? He just posted on his Instagram the other day a picture of Mario Kart, and he was like, "Man, I'm so ready for them to do the Mario Kart what they did to Smash and go
everyone
here."
Yep. Holy
and
crap!
You get all the tracks, and you get all the characters. And everything from every Mario Kart.
That's crazy. How has nobody said this before? The ultimate. I mean, we used to say that with the deluxe. Like, just do deluxe and bring everything up to speed, and like all the DLC and up-res it for like the Wii U. Just do the deluxe treatment. Now they've upped the bar with Smash. Do the ultimate treatment for everything. That is crazy.
To imagine. That'd be insanity, man. I'd be hyped. I'd be so excited for it. Straight up.
I mean,
I think that would be the best thing ever. I feel like you can only
do it so often, though. Like, it's even, like, for Smash, you think, like, what do they do now? Right? Like, it's kind of like the end game for all it's the pinnacle for every franchise. So I don't know how anxious I would be to rush every franchise to that point. Yeah. You kind of want, I don't know, man. Funny because it's tough.
I think they talked to Sakurai, Fatsimo, or whatever, Fatsimo. I don't know. The magazine in Japan. I'm bastardizing the name. You know how I am with names.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think you just said Fat Sumo, which makes me giggle a little bit.
Fat Sumo.
Like Fat Sumo wrestler. Whatever. Yeah. E Honda.
Yeah. But anyway, they interviewed
like Zangief. Right?
Yeah. They interviewed him, and he was just basically like, we're not making a new Smash for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it was like, listen, dude. Like, I love you to death. Nintendo ain't gonna let that happen. Like, this is the biggest selling game ever. It's one of the biggest console launches. One of the biggest games, franchises, IPs that they own.
Yeah.
There is no way that they're going to sit on this thing for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. I kind of agree with what he's saying. You got to go away for a long period of time because this game is got so much in it that if you come back in 3 years, 5 years, and you don't offer the same quality and number of characters, you're going to piss off a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be hard to go back to 12 to 18 characters, I think, in any other game. So you're going to have to put a lot of time and distance between it and do something super special for it to make it okay. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see it in time. I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. Don't you, Sean?
Yeah, I what it was last week we had one of those episodes like, well, this is never gonna happen. I don't feel like we got to that point with this one. I never know where we're gonna end up with this, and that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm curious what people. I want people to leave comments on the YouTube video. I want to see what they would think is gonna push the Switch to the other side of 2019 and being completely on top. I just think it's completely, the whole thing about it is that it's just weird. Nothing really, in my mind, it still doesn't add up that the Switch is doing this well. I get it. Portability, it's cool. The name is great. Third-party support, but none of these things, I don't know, man. Best ever? Best ever.
Can we just rewind? Can we just rewind to the night of the Switch reveal?
I know. It still
and how
doesn't
nasty
make it,
you were that night.
That's kind of what I'm revisiting a little bit right here. Is like it still doesn't quite add up. It's still I don't really get it. I still find myself pulled to a lot of other systems. Like there's and in equal ways. It's just I feel like there's just nothing that's really like, man, I've got to like bring my Switch with me everywhere I'm going. And yet people are finding that that's the situation they find themselves in. So it's just crazy to me, and I can't explain it. It's just cool and different. I'm glad it's happening.
Whenever I go someplace, I know I'm going to be there for a while. I get my backpack out and I load it up with my dock and my power cord and all that stuff. And
it's
then I go.
Me, man. It is just so crazy that this continues on. So it's hard to go, well, I mean, I guess you just keep being weird Nintendo. Like throw out something on cardboard next year again and who knows?
I think, you know what? I really feel like that hurt them a little bit.
It might have been part of the gap. They probably expected that to do quite a bit better. I
think they did, but I also think that that's where people are giving them a hard time because I think that's where people are like, "Oh, well, you got Labo," and
whatever, man. Everybody was excited about it. Everybody saw that and was like, "That is cool. That's something I've never seen before, and that is awesome." And they went all out, man, when they launched that thing.
They did.
So,
so that is all. Thank you guys for to this week's episode of If We Were Nintendo. I am Bobby the Nintendo Guru. You can follow me over on Twitter. I said it like that.
I know.
Follow me over on Twitter. I think I'm starting the show.
I know.
You can follow me over on Twitter at Nintendo Gurus. Follow Sean Capri. Sean like Connery. Capri like the pants. Peace out, Preston.
Merry Christmas, Preston. Merry Christmas, everybody.
You are such a... Yeah, to do that, you're kissing the dupa.
The what?
The dupa.
What's that?
It's a clean way of saying the butt.
The dupa. Is that like
dupa.
Backwards or something?
That's what grandparents used to say.
This is where you put it in the music.